This is like the most important episode we've ever recorded of anything.
Oh my God. You're just leading with that, huh? Yep. The most important episode ever of the Kulturecast is the one where we talk about 2019's film ? I mean, look, here's the problem. Like, if you clicked on this episode, you wandered into this side of the internet, into the Kulturecast. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Look,
happy to have you.
Right. It's musical month here on the Kulturecast, and we haven't done this in a very long time. Dare I say, I want to say it was sometime around 2017 we did this. I mean, it's been a while. It was pre-pandemic, pre-Sean Liang, pre-Eric Niss, which are names that will mean nothing to essentially most of you unless you've been listening since the beginning. And if you've been listening since the beginning, hi. Secondly, musicals are something that I love, but it's not something we came around to again for the primary reason of the last time we did it, one of the people we got to talk to was Jack Black for Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. So I was kind of just like, not that why would we ever do it again, but I mean, you see what I mean? It's like we did it really big one time.
You never told me that you met Jack Black.
Oh, I didn't get to meet him. We just did an interview with him. And like I said, it was a really long time ago.
I mean, you met him on the internet. I mean,
I didn't even get to interview him. This was literally so long ago that there was someone else, John, who used to be one of the co-hosts of this show. He interviewed him because back in the day when we were reaching out to get interviews, I always said, if you got the interview, you got to interview the person regardless of who it was. And
that's impressive.
I'm not going to change my tune, even if it is the biggest person we undoubtedly interviewed at the time. And I would still say like one of the biggest people we ever talked to for the Kulturecast ever. Because again, I mean, like you say Jack Black and everybody knows Jack Black. Like that's a
wowzer.
Yeah, now, right. Oh yeah, right. Jesus Christ. I kind of forgot
the only thing he's known for.
Yeah, right. In this day and age now. And that's the crazy thing. It's like, again, like I love musicals. I don't know why we never came back to them, but we didn't. But we're here now. And so 2015 was when we did those musicals. That was a really long time ago, obviously. 2015, what is that, 7-8 years ago now?
I think 8.
Yeah. So here we are. Back at it doing musicals. And yeah, like Emma said, Emma, who's here once again, Emma of Scary Stories We Tell, one of the co-hosts over there. I am also a co-host over there, but I'm still the host of this show, Chris Stachiw. Hi, everybody. It's a new year. It's a new me. And boy, we're just starting the year off right.
Honestly, I'm honored to be here.
I'm kind of glad you're here because not only did we get together at 6:30 in the afternoon the day before we're recording this to get together in the new year because we hadn't talked since Christmas, but we watched this movie and now we're talking about it all in the same span of the evening, and it's almost 3 a.m. where Emma lives. So yeah.
9:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. 1:30, 2:30. Yeah, about 8 hours.
We've been doing this for 8 hours, and now we're here. We're finally turning the record button on, and we're going to be talking about to kick off Musical Month. Because yes, there is a bonus episode that you will be hearing of Starstruck with Heather Drain and Rachel McPadden, and I talking about that Australian musical, which you should totally check out. But I didn't know that was going to be a bonus episode this month, so enjoy that one. But no, this is the first proper movie this month. And we're going to be talking about...
proper is certainly a word.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right word, but it is a word.
Look, the Kulturecast isn't a yuck podcast of like people clowning on movies. It normally isn't, but this might be one of those times where we just can't help ourselves. And I think we are in the right to clown on it because it kind of deserves it. We're going to be talking about a movie that I think didn't cause the pandemic, but boy, it was a bad omen for things to come. We're talking about 2019's adaptation of Cats, the musical Cats. This is a film also called Cat.
Once a year, cats compete for the chance of a new life.
Cross paws. I'm quite obviously the best.
Let's dance!
love it. Now it is time to make the choice. Cats.
Directed by Tom Hooper, who also directed Les Mis. So that was, I guess, his audition tape for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's based on,
Looks great on a resume.
right? Which is why he hasn't directed a movie since.
He hasn't?
In 5 years. I'm not even kidding.
That's really fucking.
I know. I went and looked. I was like, there's no way Tom Hooper hasn't directed. Oh God, he hasn't directed anything since. So yeah, it's directed by Tom Hooper. It's based on the musical titled Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which is just a repurposing of T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, to the point where some of the songs are literally just the poems from the book. And it stars a lot of people. And I think, again, we'll talk about, there's a lot to unpack here. And we stopped ourselves from unpacking it while we were watching it. It's literally almost 2 a.m, and we're about to go on an hour-long journey with this fucking nightmare of a movie. But
it's literally almost 3 a.m.
I know. It's hilarious. So look, this movie, to name the people in this movie that are in this movie that probably will wish it was not on their CV once they're all done with what they're doing: Ian McKellen, Jason Derulo, James Corden, Rebel Wilson, Jennifer Hudson, Idris Elba, Judi Dench, and Ray Winstone as well. And then obviously I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Taylor fucking Swift is in this. But none of that
an era.
Right? Yeah, this is the era. What era tour part where she showed up at the Eras tour? I watched that movie, by the way. I watched the entire Eras tour movie. It's fantastic. But
Nice.
she's talented.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it if you watched this, though, because somehow this movie makes Taylor Swift look untalented, the same way it makes Jennifer Hudson look untalented.
Oh my God.
And they're both immensely talented at what they do. But all that is to say, none of them are the main characters. Francesca Hayward, who is a ballet, I guess a dancer and a ballet dancer, she's the main character, along with another actor who plays Monkus Trap, Robbie Fairchild. They're the two main actors, but they're both essentially dancers who are being asked to be actors in this movie. And it shows because there is not much of a plot in this film that at least the movie gives away. You would have to understand what the plot is if you knew the plot of Cats the Musical. And the plot of Cats the Musical is all of these cats are effectively auditioning to die.
Okay.
Making their case as to why they want to die and go to the Heaviside layer where they transcend. But again, that's the way the movie plays it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the play. I'm just saying the movie's interpretation is pretty
It's
bizarre.
so weird how much plot they try to inject into a beautiful plotless play. There's no need. There was I forgot exactly during one of the interviews where there was some guy who was like, so what is Cats about? And didn't he respond with it's about cats.
Right. Right. And that's so obvious, right? Duh.
It's supposed to be a glimpse into a fantastical interpretation of what a society of cats looks like.
Right.
That's it. That's all it's meant to be. And what weird shit they get up to when no one's looking. That's it. There's no plot. There was never meant to be a plot. There's never meant to be a main character. There's meant to be interesting characters, but they all get their own, unless if you're part of the unnamed ensemble. But even then, I think everybody in the ensemble gets a name.
Right.
Because that's a whole other message of it. Where listen, Jellicle cats have 3 names.
Right. Sorry. Let's break it down here, folks. So here's the funny thing, and this is the thing we kind of have to get out in front of. So this movie came out in 2019, but there is another movie, a direct-to-video movie that came out in 1998 that is the filmed, essentially what I would consider, I'm sure what you would consider probably the definitive version of Cats, which is the filmed on stage version. So I'll do the thing that we normally do at the beginning of every Kulturecast, and you've kind of given it away a little bit, but Emma, tell me a little bit about your exposure to Cats before we watched it, and then when you first saw this movie, quote unquote. You can't see me doing air quotations, but it deserves it. And what you thought sitting here and rewatching it with my chucklehead over here.
Yeah, so I've always been a theater nerd in my own way. I grew up going to a lot of Broadway shows. I'm very grateful and lucky to say that that's an experience that I have. And not that I, know every single play out there, far from it, but musicals have always held a very special place in my heart. Cats had evaded my viewing, mainly
the 1998.
The original Cats, the musical, I did not get a chance to see, mainly because my parents saw no reason. My dad actually did see the original on a date. I asked him how that date went. He said not great.
You just kept looking at all the cats dancing around and really wondered why we were here.
But honestly, I think it was a little too abstract for me. But it never really interested my mom. My dad had already seen it. So because of that, I was never taken to see it. It wasn't until 2019 when the movie came along. And I had no interest, zero interest. I did not go see it in theaters. What had actually happened is that my parents decided to watch it at home after it had come out on streaming. And they were like, hey, do you want to watch this movie with us? And I was like, oh, I only heard horrible things about this. Sure. So I did. And as somebody who cared about musicals, I had heard that Cats was meant to be some kind of cult classic. It was very important to at least a large portion of the theater community. And watching this movie dumbfounded me because I had no idea how something so awful, something so weird in a bad way, how is this that? How is this that? What I've, the song Memory, of all, how is this movie with Rebel Wilson cat and Judi Dench cat and Jason Derulo cat, how is this supposed to be an adaptation of that? Is this what the original was? I had my own existential crisis where I decided to seek out the recording of the original musical, and I just watched it on my own, and I was enthralled, and I would have killed to be able to see this in person. It is night and day. If you have only seen the movie and you have not hunted down the recorded stage performance, this is your sign to do so, because if you only think of Cats as the 2019 movie, which is awful, and you have every right to think poorly of it.
Can you imagine that's Cats? You mean the movie with Jason Derulo?
No.
I would like to die now. Let me die, please, because there's nothing left for me.
It's just, there's something so beautifully alluring about something so simple yet so abstract. It was doing something different that no other play at the time, or probably any play since, tried to do. And it did it in a way that was captivating. We didn't need a plot in order to be hooked. We didn't need to follow main characters in order to stay invested. We were shown incredible, beautiful glimpses into a strange world, and that was all you needed. And the music was amazing, and the choreography was amazing, and the costumes were amazing. All of it. If you find that it wasn't your cup of tea, I respect that. But if you are a theater nerd, at the very least, you have to respect the costume design and the choreography. Because one thing that I would say is a big difference for me between the two versions is that the play is beautiful and the movie is nothing but uncanny valley.
And so that's the thing that you've kind of you've mentioned it a little bit. I think it kind of bears a little bit of a deeper dive here at the top. And again, I think it also speaks to my kind of experience with Cats before the movie came out. I got that VHS of Cats in 1998 or 1999 as a gift from a family friend because they heard I wanted to see it. So Turns out I've been gay for a lot longer than I knew. B, I saw Cats, and I have that VHS still in my parents' house in that black clamshell that it came in. And like, it's a positive, I know, and it's a positive memory of two family friends that, like, one of them has passed away, like, and like, it's a positive memory to think about, like, this was something that they got for me because they knew I really wanted it, and I still have it. And Cats in 1998 is a really positive memory because I used to watch it all the time in the living room at my parents' house. Rum Tum Tugger is a song that is like imprinted in my head. My wife and I really love, she really loves the musical, as do I. I bought it for her on vinyl for an anniversary, I think, or something. It was like a nice one too. It was like an original nice one, like not a retro. And so I really enjoy, unironically, the original Cats. And I think I say unironically because, and this is the thing that you were kind of getting at, it was such a fucking big deal. And look, I'm 33, you're 26. We're both too young to have, quote, lived through it. But when Cats came out in 1981, it was the biggest fucking deal in the history of musicals because it made musicals a fucking thing like blockbusters in movies. Mega musicals exist because of Cats. Cats was the original one. Cats was before Les Mis, before Phantom of the Opera, which just recently stopped running.
Yeah.
The last year? That's what I saw when I went to New York. The one of two times I've been to New York. The other time I went to New York, I saw something that I'm glad I got the opportunity to see it because there's been stories told about it now for years. There's been books written about it. There was there's a script on the blacklist about it that nobody decided to pick up. That I'm sure you know a musical I'm talking in 2011. It ran in 2011. They had to redo it a bunch of times. Actors kept getting injured because they were falling off of the wires that they were suspended from because they were zipping and zapping around the theater. I got an opportunity to see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God.
And
Did anyone get hurt?
No, but I saw the one of the like middle iterations of it. I didn't see what it ended up being. I saw like not the early one, but like a middle iteration. Cause like I've seen it since and it's like drastically different than what I saw. And I was like, holy shit, what did I see? But like
bunch of zipping and zapping.
Right. And people falling from the sky. But like the thing is like none of that exists without this.
It's fun to hate on it. At the very least, it's weird and bad enough that it's a fun watch with a friend. If you enjoy watching, like hate watching things, then like this is like absolute. Then put this on your list if you haven't already.
I say what I say because like the musical is so good that this is so bad that this really like and this was the thing that we were talking about when we were watching. It's like, what the fuck did you watch on the 1998 movie or all the other captured versions that have been out there since that would lead you to come up with this? Because like, and look, here's the thing. Like, we could talk about the butthole cut jokes. We could talk about, again, like when this came out in 2019 or all the other things, like this being a Tom Hooper movie, all that. But the thing that you have to get around, the thing that has to be wrangled immediately, the moment you start talking about this movie, is the decision to make them look the way that they did and do, because that was the worst decision that's been made, I think, in terms of CGI ever. Like, it's up
and
there.
All of
it's up there.
CGI cinema history. It is quite literally like one of the worst visual directions. I think ever. maybe only to be challenged by that first iteration of Sonic.
And this was done by the same company,
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I was like, are you just saying that because you know that to be the case? Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. MPC Vancouver were the company. Yeah.
Vancouver, get your shits together. Have they done anything that doesn't look like Nightmare Fuel?
But here's the thing. They redid the visuals for Sonic. So
right.
They were the company that came in to fix the other company's problem. The issue seems to be, from all information that has come out since, because it's now 2024. This movie came out 5 years ago now, almost. So people have since even James Corden and Rebel Wilson smoked the shit out of this movie when they were presenting at the Oscars, the Golden Globes, I think. Information has come out since that it seems some of the problems with this movie in terms of the VFX come from Tom Hooper getting involved in a way that was slowing down production, and they weren't able to really make any decisions that were efficient, and in not making efficient decisions, that hampered the VFX actually being finished in time. And again, like, this is just information that's come out since. Supposedly, the team spent 6 months on the trailer for the movie, the 2-minute trailer, and then they finished the rest of the 110-minute movie in the 4 months leading up to the film's release. And supposedly, the VFX were being finished the day of the movie's premiere.
No.
Which, like, if we think about it makes perfect sense because the VFX of this movie is so fucking rough and in places legitimately shit. Like, there's perspective fuck-ups in this movie, like forced perspective fuck-ups that, like, make things that happened in Lord of the Rings, what Peter Jackson was able to do with that movie, makes it look like literally like it was directed by God compared to how bad this looks. Like, it looks like someone was a cinematic god, because in this movie, there are perspective fuck-ups that are really hard to even ignore. They're so bad.
The size inconsistencies and the size they chose, like, that makes me so uncomfortable. Like, she looks like a little itty bitty baby mouse. Like, Victoria looks like a mouse on the bed, like with pearls like as big as her head. And then, like, she's at the table with this like knife and fork, and she looks a little bigger. But then, like, when they're at like the milk bar, they look so much bigger. Like, it makes no sense. It's so unbelievably uncomfortable to look at. Not only like do their faces look weirdly plastered on to like every, we were talking about like the cats that looked better than others, and honestly the ones that looked the best were the old ones that were allowed to have fur. All the other ones that were forced to be short hair just look like naked hairy people.
Yeah.
With tails and no asshole. Can't have one.
No asshole. Well, and here's the other thing. So, like, if you look at the cats from top down, so to say like what they have of human and what they have of cat for someone listening who hasn't seen this, because again, like, I don't think either one of us would advocate watching this movie looking for something of quality, but you're going to have a fun time just being astounded that $80 million to $100 million was spent on this nightmare of a movie, and it made $75 million, which is also fucking bizarre.
It's,
I guess,
like, I would describe the experience as like it's Halloween and you go to like your local shitty haunted house, and like there's a bunch of like teenagers like volunteering to scare, and like you go in knowing it's not going to be scary, but you're just here for a good time.
Right.
And like that's the vibe. The vibe is don't go in with any expectations other than it's going to be something. Probably not anything good.
Right.
Don't compare it to anything good because you will be disappointed.
So to talk about the cats from top down, so they have cat ears, and then they have human facial hair. Well, human facial hair. So they have eyebrows.
Oh, the eyebrows, yes.
And so they have eyebrows like human beings, and then they have human eyes. They have a human nose. They have a human mouth. But then
human lips.
They don't have a cat nose. They have a human nose. Some of them, I mean, all of them have whiskers, but some of them are more pronounced. They're coming out of the top lips. Some of them have eye like contacts in, as Idris Elba has green contacts in.
They look so bad.
But then, like we've mentioned, if you go down from there, they have, cat bodies, quote unquote. Some of them have clothing on. Some of them don't, which is never explained. Some of them wear hats. Some of them don't. I guess they can just choose to wear clothes if they want to or not.
Some of them had like straight up kick. Some had straight up fancy ass white drippy kick.
Yeah. So it's never, none of that's ever explained. None of that is ever anything other than just like, oh, that's what's happening here. But then they have tails like cats do. They have fur on their bodies like cats do, but then they have human hands. And I'm not saying like human hands covered in fur. I'm saying they literally have
bare human hands.
Yeah, which like it doesn't help the poor design choices because again, I don't understand why not just give them paws. But also, why not like the question, because this is the question I wanted to ask you and I was thinking about when we were watching it. How would you, Emma, do this if someone said to you, all right, we're gonna do cats and you can do it any way that you want. How would you, if given the opportunity to do a Cats musical movie version, how would you address the problem? Because I do think it is a problem that the movie failed at answering. I think that the biggest failure that this movie has is also the biggest hurdle to get over, which is why almost there's no need for a Cats movie, because by having a Cats movie, you make this your problem inherently. How would you do this in a way that doesn't make it look like freaky, human, naked cat people without assholes who also have human hands and feet, but should have paws because maybe that would have helped, but maybe even I can't help this. Like, what would you have done? Because I have my answer, sort of, but I want to know what your answer is.
I mean, so I think the easiest answer is obviously the play did something right. I think having more hair, changing the shape of the head using hair was like more fur, extra fur to like alter the shape of the head to make like the top half of the head look wider than the bottom half, and like using fur to build out more of a cat-like shape. So like longer hair, longer fur like towards the top of the head, longer fur towards like the wrists and ankles, which will help like hide some of the uncanniness of the hands while still having hands. I don't know if paws is necessarily. I feel like CGI paws might not be the best route. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either. That's why I said like maybe even that wouldn't fix it, because like it sounds like a good idea, but then I think about the ways that their hands interact with things, and like seeing those paws up close would probably look, given how bad everything else looked, it would probably not look much better, if better at all. It might just look fucking worse, and we might have been just in another universe. Me and you were saying, and those fucking paws look like shit, right? Like,
exactly.
That's us in another universe, still being subjected to this nightmare because apparently it's a fixed point in time. I'm going to put that out into the universe. Cats 2019 is a fixed point in time. In every universe, this is the only way it's ever been interpreted, is this horrifying, ghoulish fucking nightmare.
It is horrible.
It's so hard to watch for more than a couple minutes, because here's the other thing. And again,
you had to keep looking away.
I did. It was like, it's hard to watch. And the reason I say that, in all seriousness, no choreography is impressive when it's being done by CGI anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. And you kind of mentioned it, the original play and the 1998 direct-to-film version, that's human beings doing real choreography. And I'm not saying that's not what's happening here, but these are all fucking mocap performances. And again, that's perfectly fine. Andy Serkis has made an entire career off of doing mocap. He's done some of the best mocap work: Gollum, King Kong, the Caesar the Ape, and the new Planet of the Apes movies. That is Andy Serkis's bread and butter. But even he understands the limitations of the medium. And the limitations of the medium are you can't do it all that. And that's what this is it's an unflinching resolve to make your entire movie these weird CGI catsuit people, when I think the best choice might have been to just do like
practical.
Yeah, like
some editing with CGI, of course. Like maybe doing the tails with CGI would make sense.
Yeah, like I think like really like having it be like a very stylized, like stylized through their clothing, like make them wearing like distinct clothing. And you could give actors hats and then give them cat ears. Like, I don't even know why you couldn't just give them cat ears and cat nose. Like, that's the other thing. If you look at the original musical, the way it's presented in 98, they kind of have cat noses.
Yeah.
Like they have the
painted, their faces are very painted.
Right. And some of them have like a prosthetic cat nose.
Yeah.
So why not just do that? Like, I don't know, like they literally ignored what came before them for the sake of what?
Differentiating themselves is my only,
That's a poor assumption, but that's my assumption too. But like, But like here, like I say, it's a poor assumption, not because you're making it, but like,
no, I get it.
It's a poor assumption because like there's no way anyone watched this and said this is better than people in spandex leotards unless those people are out of their fucking gourd. And this movie is not made by people that are unreasonable.
I genuinely think that the only people that if you showed them both side by side, you know, both the movie and the original, and just said like, hey, which is better? And like no other question, just blanket, which is better? The only audience that I think might, maybe 45% of the time, say that 2019 is better is children. And the only reason why I say that is because it gives them a plot to follow. And children,
some stupid shit to laugh at. That's literally not funny.
And a lot of like weird, gross humor jokes and like just, I don't know. I feel like the only audience that would find this more enjoyable is children. I feel like children might find the original Cats to be boring when compared to, you know, Rebel Wilson cat unzipping her cat skin and eating tap dancing cockroaches while like fumbling around because fat is the punchline. Like
twice with two separate characters. And that's the thing, like in the original musical, that was not the case.
No.
Like Jenny Anydots and Bustopher Jones, like they were big characters, but they're not made fun of because they're fat. But like
the biggest character was Old Deuteronomy, and he is revered.
Right, he's Cat Jesus.
Jesus, yeah.
Felinus.
Ooh.
Felinus Catus. I mean, he's like, hey, that's the thing that's really weird is like you have two fat characters who are literally the butt of every fat joke. And like, it all feels so lowbrow and low-hanging fruit, but there's none of that in the original. So it almost feels like it's for kids because, but like even kids wouldn't laugh at that, right? Like,
I mean, it's like I said, 45% of the time, I want to believe that 55% of kids would be enthralled with the stage play. I don't know if that's just wishful thinking. But if anybody is going to choose the movie over the play, it's going to be children.
The original musical was a family-friendly musical. Like, it was popular with families traveling to New York to go for tourism.
I would say that probably like parents of today might consider some of it a little bit more risque or even a little too scary at some points. I say that lightly. Obviously, I don't feel that way. But like, you know, Rum Tum Tugger is very, very, very sexual. You know, a lot of kittens at his crotch.
Yeah, and, sniffing of the wiener. There's a lot of like wiener sniffing in the movie.
A lot of butt and wiener sniffing of Rum Tum Tugger specifically. And like, I don't know. I feel like maybe some parents of today might be a little weirded out by that. You know, just like depending on like how young the child is. That they would be taking. I could see parents being a little concerned about that. Because it doesn't just like happen like one time. There is at least a solid 45 seconds of like just straight up kitten fangirling over this guy's crotch in the original.
Well, and that's the other thing that I was saying when we were watching the movie and then we would pause it and then we would watch some of the original on YouTube. Yeah. And I'm just going to say it because we both were joking about it most of the time. Like the original is so unbelievably gay. And it is so like over the top. And it's like everything that you would want of like that early 80s musical theater experience where it's like, it's over sexualized, but it's cats and they're shaking their asses and they're wiggling their hips and like it's so fucking bizarre, but at the same time it's like I said, it's very queer coded, like Rum Tum Tugger, very queer coded. Like there's a lot, and it's like it's a lot of people jumping around in leotards in very tight fitting clothing. Like again, it's
have you forgotten Mr. Mistopheles taking a literal rainbow ribbon out of his hat and like running around happily on the stage, and also the insane gay tension between him and Rum Tum Tugger.
And that's the thing; it's like
palpable gay tension,
cut it with a knife. But that's the thing; like, there's none of that in the like. There's no.
Oh, it's so hetero. Oh, it's so painfully hetero.
But it's even worse than that. it takes all of the fun and bombast out of the musical. And I'm not saying, and like, I'm not saying you're right, because you are. It is like painfully, boringly, like made for normie people. Like, it's like, I think one of the reasons it's so boring is because all of the fun is taken out. And that fun comes with just like a level of bombast that, I mean, the original musical is a lot like the colors I would say I associate with the original are like bright white and dark black. And then these like oranges that they use to highlight these characters. This is like turd brown. It's just like brown and brown and like
all of the
yellow.
Songs are just watered down versions of the original. Some of them take the melody out altogether to the point where they just sound like slam poetry.
Yeah, Mr. Mephistopheles is it is a victim in this movie of poor composition.
Honestly, the one that upset me the most was Mungo Jerry and Ripple Teaser's song, because it's so boring to listen to. It goes on for so long,
and comparatively too, like,
and it changes their tone completely. Like, they went from like fun, lovable tricksters to like just straight up menaces. And like, I understand that, like, yeah, we're highlighting different types of cats and whatever. Like, that's the point of the original is to shed light on the different types of cats that you might encounter and what that could mean, you know, recontextualized as a cat society. But like, it sucked all of the fun personality out of everyone. No, like, it might as well have been in black and white with like how boring it felt. Like, no color, no melody. They tried to make up for that with like, this is where it got me. They really cared about the setting in the movie. They had a lot of different settings throughout the movie. They seemed to care a lot about the set, you know, a lot about the environment. And like, usually that's fine, but I think that's where they built so much on the sizing and like the uncanniness is because like in the original, it takes place in a dump. Like, the setting is literally a garbage dump. And because of that, we're not constantly looking for things for scale. But when you're in a home, at a dinner table, out at a window, at the door,
in a theater,
in the trash cans, in a chandelier, like, they're adding so many things where you could be like, oh, well, the cats look smaller now, but now they look bigger, because you're constantly referencing the very real things that are around them. Whereas like having it in a literal dump, you're not constantly looking at like, this is how big this thing is and this is how big this thing is, and so because of that, that's how big they all are. It really destroys so much of the immersion of believing that like cats could look and act like this and be like this and exist in this world. And like, when you're watching the play, I think something that sticks out to me is how like easy you are to say, yep, that's a bunch of cats on a stage. Like, obviously they're people, but like, you're able to like have a suspension of disbelief. There is a level of like, first, obviously the way that they move, which is gorgeous. The choreography is so expertly done. But then like, on top of that, the way that their costumes are and the fact that it makes sense that they're all outside in a dump like strays. And they, of course, would have their own little society, especially like it's either they're all strays or there's like there's also like house cats that are like indoor outdoor cats, and they all gather at this dump, and that's where they share these stories. And it just makes so much more sense. Like, less is more. And all they did with this movie is more settings, more places, more environments, more flashy effects, more cats. I think there were significantly more cats.
Oh, there's
in
like
the movie,
like 50 cats,
like double the amount of cats, and then of course like more quote unquote plot, and like giving the audience a main character to cling to in like the most condescending way possible. Like, it literally just feels like exposition after exposition. Like, it's literally song exposition, song exposition, song exposition. Like, there's no flow. There's no flow. And if you're going to try to inject a plot into this, if you're going to try to pass it off like this was meant to have a plot all along and a main character and a story arc, then you can't just say verbatim, like, okay, it's going to be a bunch of songs with this is what's going on. And then another song, this is what's happening. Like, it's just, it feels like my hand is being held, but my hand is slowly being stuffed into a like shredder, you know?
Yeah. It's
painful condescension.
Well, and again, like as a film goer, you put your trust in the director and the screenwriter and the cinematographer and the actors that everyone is putting in the best effort that they can to make the best product. And look, there are plenty of people that spent plenty of time on this movie. And that's not to say that they didn't do hard work and that they didn't learn how to dance and sing and all these other things. But you know what? Objectively, they failed. And subjectively, we both agree they failed. And like the problem is, like, it's hard to say objectively you failed because so much of subjectivity and objectivity are tied up in one another now because we don't want to have a line between the two and people's opinions are now being fact. And it's like, look, this movie is objectively bad because the decision that they made with the CGI is so distracting that anything else that they've done is also suffering. But like you just said, it's worse than that because there's nothing there, even if you can somehow fucking force yourself to ignore the CGI. Which you can't because it's
you're unable.
You're bombarded with it constantly. And then you're also bombarded with, like, just when you thought you saw the new worst thing, there's a new worst thing. And then there's a new worst thing the next minute. Because this movie just, given that it only took them 4 months to finish the movie and they were finishing it the day of, it looks like it. You can tell if this had been a video game, we'd be playing it and Bethesda would have made it because it would be buggy beyond fucking belief. And that's what this feels like. Not only does it feel like an unfinished CGI product, but it feels like a first pass of a script because, like you said, there's not any real meaningful character interactions.
No.
And not that there needed to be, because again, in the original musical, there really aren't.
It was all implied in the musical.
They know each other already. Like,
exactly.
There you go. Like,
because we're getting a glimpse. We're not getting our hand held in the original.
Right.
Like the way that you see like Munkustrap take care of like the kittens. He never says, and it is my job to take care of the kitten. It's just shown like when anything like I guess God, the fucking Macavity. Jeez, it's late. Like when Macavity shows up in the original, like all of the kittens are like hiding in like some kind of like part of like a sewer or something, like hiding behind something, and Munkustrap is there like in like literally standing in front of them, like guarding them. Like, and what I love about that is that they didn't need to tell us like these are the kittens and this is their caretaker. He is very good at watching them and making sure they don't get into trouble. Like, it's just shown the way that, you know, the kittens are whisked away when they're trying to reach out to Grisabella. Like, none of that is said. None of that is spoken, but it's so visually understood. It's so show, not tell. And all this movie does is tell, and then yet you're left more confused because you're like, why did right. of it need to happen like this? Like, why are they competing to die? Like, why is there this competition? Like, this competition did not happen in the original. That was so off-putting. Like, why all of a sudden do all the main characters all want to be reborn? Most of them have good lives. And I think they even mentioned that, in the movie itself. Like, Victoria's like, why does Jenny Anydots, want to have a new life? And she's like, I just can't be in this kitchen anymore. It's like, what?
Why? You seem to have a pretty good life. Like, you're a fat cat who is enjoying life and eating cockroaches and not being bothered by seemingly anything. Like, literally, she has a whole house at her disposal and she just does whatever the fuck she wants. That is her character. Same with Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer. Like, why would they want to? Like, the only one who realistically makes sense is the one cat who does end up going to the heaviside layer, which is Grisabella, the glamour cat who sings, I guess, what would be considered the most mainstream famous song from this memory,
it's
which
most iconic, I guess.
And look, we listened to Elaine Page version, the original from the 1998 one, the filmed one, and it is a fucking house bringer. It brings the house down. And it's because of the power of her voice and really nothing else. It's
and
just
the way she's able to convey emotion without having to physically break down. You can tell in the way that she convey the volume at certain points, and everything is so clear. And yet she's able to convey supreme sadness without having to cry. It is the juxtaposition of her grappling with hopelessness and hopefulness. And it is so easy to see that. And then in the movie, Jennifer Hudson Cat does a good job in terms of this is my character Grisabella and I can sing. But then it's ruined by this forced fake crying. Of course, the snot dribbling down her face at all times, onto her lip, which is just so just wipe it away.
And and we see it in very close up, which is just and you know what I wonder, is it this Tom Hooper thing of I want it to be, because the thing with wasn't the thing with Les Mis it was all the vocals were recorded on set. It wasn't they didn't do anything in post-pro. They weren't going into the studio.
Well, it sounded like it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Les Mis is something that I had just recently seen. And I don't know, we were thinking about doing that initially, and then we, some things happened and we kind of pivoted to Cats. But the thing about Les Mis that kind of stuck with me is at least that was a better adaptation of what I assumed the fucking musical is like. At least
you don't
it's
leave the movie being wow, that was weird and bad.
Yeah, the thing that I didn't like about Les Mis was how bad everybody was at singing, because pretty much everybody was, especially Russell Crowe, who sticks out like a sore thumb the way Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia does. It's it's talk singing again in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same talk singing here. And it's is this just the Tom Hooper thing of taking a musical that is beloved by effectively fucking everybody, Les Mis, and Cats is essentially beloved by fucking everybody too.
It's a more niche audience, but yes.
Is it a Tom Hooper thing to come into those projects and just take
ruin them, butcher them?
Yeah, take them in the worst direction possible, because again, the people you cast in Les Mis are laughable choices, some of them, literally laughable. When they sing on screen, all I want to do is snigger because they're so fucking untalented at singing a song, because they're actors, not singers. It's almost like people who can act and sing may not be able to do one or the other, or they can't do both, or they can only do one. And some of them can't even act, and they're ballet dancers, you know what I mean? Then you got those people, the actor dancer and the singer actor. It's all I'm not going to say you should only do the thing that you're good at, but when you try to force a square peg into a round hole on a big stage like this, you can tell.
It's so clearly forced. All of it is so clearly forced. The jokes are forced. The timing is forced. The plot is forced. The celebrities that they got to play the characters are forced.
And that's where I wanted to go next, because that's the thing. If anything sticks out just as much for me, other than, the fucking design of this movie overall, the grand choices that were made that took this in the weird direction that we see, that's the other thing that sticks out for me, is just the amount of people who apparently their families were being held hostage to make this movie. Taylor Swift, Judi Dench, Ian McKellen, Jason Derulo, James Corden did this shit willingly. There's nothing. Yeah. Rebel Wilson, who I'm glad that none of these people's careers were ended by this movie. I think they were big enough to evade this ending their careers, other than maybe the actors who were stage dancers, ballet dancers, Francesca Hayward and Robbie Fairchild.
Yeah, I haven't heard her in anything else recently. Have you?
No, or Laurie Davidson, the actor who plays Mr. Mephistopheles. So none of them, I'm not saying they they don't have a career anymore, but like this is such a, if this were on your resume, you might want to like explain what was going on, because like it's notoriously bad.
Listen, man, I had to pay my rent.
Right. And that's what it feels like.
That's the only excuse to be a part of this.
Like, I think maybe Taylor Swift had a little bit more involvement, given that she wrote Beautiful Ghost, which you contend to me is the only good song from this, even though it is literally an original song.
In my opinion, out of all of the songs, if you were to compare like the entire soundtrack to the original soundtrack, it is night and day in terms of, one, how good it sounds overall, which is so funny to me. As like you're watching the like recordings of the play, like that's not the cast recording, that is the stage recording, and it sounds better than this monstrosity, which could have had post-processing, and I guess they chose not to. And that, right?
The Tom Hooper thing is like, I think they clearly like they did more with this than they did with Les Mis, because Les Mis, like, I know what they did. They just recorded it on set, and it really sounded like it, especially in some of like the more confined scenes with Hugh Jackman. Again, talk singing. That's the other thing. Like, you have actors who are talk singing because they really aren't talented at singing as much as their stage counterparts. I'm not saying they're not talented at all. I'm just saying that the people that do this on stage, that is what they do for a living.
Exactly.
Every day of their lives. And that is what they have been trained
dance, and they sing. When you are on Broadway, you need to do all three.
Triple threat.
And not every mainstream actor can do all three or be taught to do all three. And it shows. So yeah, Beautiful Ghost. I mean, so it was written by Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is an icon. She's a bajillionaire for good reason. She made a lot of money performing a lot this past year, and good for her. She donates a lot of her money, so I'm not mad about it. That being said, Beautiful Ghost is a very melodically interesting song in comparison to like the lack of melody. Like, I'm starving for melody. The only other melody we get is like the Jellicle Cats like opening song, because if they didn't do that, people would have literally rioted. So like we get that taste of like, wow, this is weird, but at least like they have like the this is fun. It's a fun vibe. And then we lose it all the way until we get to Beautiful Ghost, and then it's not really a fun vibe, but at least it's melody. And it's a pretty song. That being said, I don't think it's sung like particularly well. She has a great range. Like she is able to sing all of the notes. She does not struggle. But like in terms of like smoothness, it's not there. And one thing that I wanted to bring up because of that, there were choices in the original play, specifically with Victoria, who was not meant to be a main character. However, she was basically the representative of the group of kittens. She was the most like iconic looking kitten out of everyone. And because of that, she did get her own dance solo. And what I love about the lore of this is that, so she was a very, very talented ballerina. And as I showed Chris earlier, because I wanted him to watch this back, because with a new lens, because I had done a lot of research and learned about this when I was doing my cat's hyperfixation, becoming a massive fangirl of it. And it's like, it's something that like, if you don't know to look for, you will miss. And it's the fact that while she is doing this solo, only one on stage, ballet performance, this very talented ballerina is shaking. And like, she is struggling to find her balance. Her limbs are shaking. And you would be like, that's not a very talented ballerina. But the thing is that was on purpose, to show the fact that she is indeed a kitten. She is learning. She is weak. She is graceful because she's a cat, but even so, like she's getting her footing. She's like, she needs to grow. And the whole point of that was to show her age. And apparently it's very technically difficult for a very well-trained ballerina to pretend like they don't have the strength that they do, which is insane. And like, it was just so beautifully done and conveys exactly what it needs to if you know to look for it. And then the way that the movie shits all over that is that we know Victoria is a kid and we know she's young. But then all of her dancing is incredibly smooth, despite being literally like just thrown into an alleyway in a burlap sack and being disoriented. She's just like, oh, cat society, and she starts dancing as if she's always danced. And I want to say that her having a shaky voice for Beautiful Ghosts could be a callback to her being shaky as a dancer in the original. But if she's not going to be a shaky dancer, then she shouldn't have a shaky voice. Like,
doing the movie's work for it.
It just pissed me off. Like, the moment I saw how smooth she danced, because I had only seen Cats like the movie one time, and like I'd seen it that first time and then like never again. I did not touch it since. And so I'd forgotten just how like smooth she dances. And don't get me wrong, this ballerina in the movie is very talented, but it just does not fit the same way. It doesn't make sense in the same way. And so, of course, she's not as talented as a singer, but she's a ballerina. And so that shows in her performance, and they don't do anything to help her post-production, as far as I can tell. And even though she is like a decent singer, to have a solo with very quiet backing instrumentals, just your one sole voice with a simple but powerful melody, and have it be not good, like, it's the most listenable song in comparison to everything else. But with everything else, like, it's just, I would much rather listen to the original, because there's nothing in the movie that holds a candle to how amazing the original sounds. And so Beautiful Ghosts, like, it's its own standalone thing. Like, there's nothing to compare it to. And yet it still falls short for me, because I can't even justify it with her being a kitten, which like would have made a lot of sense. I don't know. It just bothers me. It just bothers me how much they did not care about the source material. And like, they were willing to overlook literally everything to tell it in their own way, and their own way was bad. Like, that's just what it comes down to.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, you mentioned just kind of a general misunderstanding of the ideas and concepts behind what they're trying to kind of present with some of these characters. And I mean, I want to go back to this idea of like just including all of these random actors for seemingly no reason. I mean, again, like Idris Elba, I think his character design is the absolute worst in the entire
out of all of them. He looks horrible.
Looks like a naked guy. He just looks like a naked man dancing around. And like I always make this joke about Idris Elba, like, this guy can't catch a fucking break when it comes to being in good big budget movies. Because I think about this, I think about The Dark Tower. It's weird because he's such a talented actor. And I think everybody in this movie is talented. Holy shit, Judi Dench, Jennifer Hudson. I mean, again, like you mentioned, Taylor Swift. But it's like somehow this movie, like I said, could convince me that Jennifer Hudson and Taylor Swift have no reason to be singing. Because again, like the thing is, you know, you go and listen to the original versions of the songs and listen to their versions, like you just mentioned, their versions add nothing to the conversation about like a reimagined version or anything. And that's the other thing.
It's just worse.
Well, and here's the thing, like I think about something we could have covered this month, and it's something that I love in spite of the fact that it is vastly different than the stage play. Sweeney Todd, the Tim Burton movie, is completely different from the stage play. Like, completely different, tonally different. The art direction is vastly different. Like, the versions that I've seen are not necessarily all the same, but they seem to be kind of consistent in what they're getting at. But the movie is injected with a Tim Burton thing that Tim Burton does, and he works with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter, and he makes them look fucking weird, and he makes weird choices that only Tim Burton would make. Okay, it has really very different tone from the play, but yet I can appreciate the movie for what it's doing, reinterpreting the musical in a film form. This doesn't even make a case for itself to exist, because it is just, by my approximation, a filmed, big-budget CGI version of the musical. They don't do anything different with any of the songs. Like, the only one they maybe do something different with negatively. And you mentioned the Rumpelteazer song, and that one is vastly different. But like they change them negative if they change them at all. But for the most part, they're just like a very generic redoing of the song, like a reinterpreting.
Yeah.
But it's not even reinterpreting. Like Rum Tum Tugger kind of different, but most
that was the most, I would say Rum Tum Tugger was the most interesting in terms of like, okay, this is a singer trying to differentiate his version versus the original version. And even though I don't personally like the changes, I don't really like him as the character, at least like he tried to inject his personality into it in a way that was interesting. I think we just make fun of Jason Derulo, like in general. I mean, he's not either of our cup of tea.
He's kind of cringe. Like he's kind of cringe TikTok dude now. Like,
but he does have, as we were saying, like while we were watching it, he has great vocal control and he has an incredibly vast range in terms of pitch. It's just a matter of like what he did with that didn't sound better or even on the same level as the original. It just wasn't as fun, but it was different and not in a bad way, just not in a great way. And so that was just like, again, it's just like another letdown. And then, of course, it's juxtaposed with him almost like eating Victoria's foot.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Mr. Mephistopheles is different, but also, again, like, not in a fun...
Yeah, he literally is just a little shy. Oh, no, I can't do anything.
Manic pixie dream kitty. Like, he's just, like, he's like that twee little guy that's so cute. And, like, you want to, like, he's like Eddie Redmayne adjacent. It's just...
And Victoria's like, I can fix him.
Yeah, right. He's that guy.
That's the vibe. And it's so off-putting knowing how like bombastic and confident he was in the original. Like, yes, he was quiet, but quiet doesn't mean shy. Quiet doesn't mean a lack of confidence. It just means that usually you appreciate talking less and being in the background. That has nothing to do with how confident you are in your own abilities. And they just spent so long being like, come on, Mr. Mistopheles, you can do it. And it's just so, it goes on for so long. And just like all the pauses in the song make it unlistenable. It's just, it makes no sense. And then obviously, like, the level of power that he has is so undefined, and it's such, like, it makes no sense. Like, all of the characters that have, like, magical abilities, basically, Mistopheles and McCavity are the ones with, like, the primary, like, magic powers. But while they are described as magic powers in the original, it's clear that those are supposed to be, like, analogies and metaphors for, you know, a cat, you know, a magic cat, you know, is this cat where you think you hear him in the hallway, but really he's upstairs. Like, it's not that he has
disappears for days, but then still comes back. Like, they literally say that in the song. They're like,
it's like, but then he can control like cards, make them float in the air. He can like make like musical instruments float and play in the air in like a full symphony. Like, but when? Why?
Yeah.
Like,
like having seen Les Mis and now seeing this, and I hadn't seen Les Mis before I watched this. The first time I watched it back in 2022. This honestly, like, you know what this reminds me of? This kind of reminds me of Les Mis with cats.
Yeah,
because the set design and everything feels so like it's the real world, and like all of that real worldiness makes this even less fun. Because like you've said, like all the songs are like kind of like slam poetry, and like they're more spoken than they are sung. And it's like, so you're taking a lot of the fun out of the songs, and now you're taking a lot of the fun out of the setting too, because instead of it being this like 80s, like, and that's the thing, they could have set this in the 80s and like drenched it in neon and like pastel colors, like do something fucking weird. Instead, it's just, let's make this the most on-the-nose interpretation, which is it literally takes place in England. These are British cats. They are dancing around, and they are literally CGI cat people this time. Like, they interpret, like, that's the thing. When you look at the stage play and you look at this, they interpreted it the most literal fucking way that they could. And why? Like, why? Because like you mentioned, with so much of this, it was never about what it literally fucking meant. It's about just showing us how weird cats are, because as someone who has 2 cats and grew up with cats, the only word I would use to describe cats is weird. Cats are
cute
weird
and lovable.
Right, but like
Yeah, no,
ultimately at their core, like cats are like the thing that I think draws us to cats in a way that we're not that we're not drawn to dogs, but I think
is how mysterious they are.
Right. Like there's something about them that's just like an intangible thing. And like when I look at my cat, who is a Maine Coon, there's something about him that just it sparks something in me that I don't know how to describe it, because that's something only a cat can do.
Yeah.
And like I've never felt that with any of the dogs we've ever owned. And like that's weird for me, because like I said, I did grow up with cats, but for the most part I did and was a dog person up until our next door neighbor said, I've got this little Maine Coon cat and I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, oh shit, here we go. And like cats are weird and mysterious, and you look at them and you wonder what they're thinking, because it seems like they're thinking about more than just nothing. And
that's what it was supposed to capitalize on. Right. And like, instead, they just went, mysterious means surrealist horror. Like, that's what it feels like. And it's like, no, mysterious is fun and alluring. And you have none of that. There's no charm. There's no charisma. It's all so bland.
The Rum Tum Tugger performance from the 1998 musical, the filmed musical version, has more charisma than in those 4 minutes than this entire movie has. And oh, by the way, so that's the other thing we haven't mentioned yet. This movie's not an hour 20 or an hour 30 or an hour 40. It's an hour and 49 minutes. It's almost 2 hours.
2 hours.
It's shy of 2 hours by 10 minutes, but I will tell you, folks, if you've never seen it, like by the hour mark, you feel like you've been watching it for 2 hours. By the hour and a half mark, you feel like you've been watching it for 3.
I thought you were going to say 3 days.
Yeah. It drags in a way that it drags in a way that bad movies drag. And I'm not talking about like so bad they're fun, because this movie is so bad it's fun. But this movie
when
is
things are happening. Yeah. But then like, it's just like, okay, we get it. They're bad dancing. Okay, we get it. They're talking at the camera. Okay, we get it. We're looking at the scene, but the scene doesn't really matter. Like it's all these like weird little quiet moments and or like zooming in on details or letting something just go on for too long. And it's like, this movie could have been so much shorter.
Yeah. And like, and again, like it could have been shorter if they had just shored up all of the unnecessary visuals, but it also could have been shorter if, again, you just hew closer to the idea of what the original was, which is it doesn't need to have, it needed to have structure because it was turned into a movie, but I don't know why you couldn't have just staged a really extravagant stage version. I mean, I don't think, best I can tell, unless something has changed in the last couple of years, they're not doing a movie version of Hamilton. The version that Disney Plus did is it. Like that's, and I don't think there needs to be a movie. Like I know there's a movie of Wicked coming out, and I don't know if it needs to be. Like did Idina Menzel not do a good enough job? Did Kristen Chenoweth not do a good enough job to like cement those as the definitive versions? Like
no, we need Ariana Grande to come in with her SpongeBob boyfriend and just ruin the vibe.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't.
How are we supposed to believe she's Glinda Good? I mean, come on.
I don't think remaking musicals into movies is a bad idea. I just think this is a really poor example of how you adapt something that in a lot of ways is unadaptable and unadaptable more or less intentionally, because it exists in a way that stage plays can exist and films can't. The expectations of the audience are different from the get-go. And you know what? While you might want to fit cats into a box of a narratively driven story about a young cat who learns about the Jellicle cats and blah, blah, blah.
And joins a cult.
You fucking missed the mark. And not only did you miss the mark, you're off in Delulu land somewhere, because you have made it clear to me and everybody else who watches this movie that your just generally misunderstanding what Cats is about to begin with. And if that was the first stumbling block, that's like the biggest one. Like, if you can't
How
even
did they
understand,
somehow not make Cats the movie about cat?
why wasn't it just animated cats? Like, why wasn't it just CGI cats? Like, really, they did it with Lion King. Disney did like 2 years later. Like, why?
I don't know. Don't give them ideas.
I know, but like at the same time, that's what I'm asking. Because if you're gonna do this, why not just do that? Like, why not just have anthropomorphic cats dancing, or again, just hyper stylize their costumes?
You know, it would have been like actually really nice. Imagine if like Disney took it and did like their old 2D style,
Or animated like that.
like. But I'm talking like Aristocat. You know?
Okay.
Do you remember?
Sure. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Like, imagine if they did like this in the style of Aristocats.
So
I think that could be really fun, especially if they went crazy with the designs.
it's funny you mention that, because in the 90s, Amblimation, which is Amblin, which was Spielberg, his production, the animated arm of his production company, Amblimation, was going to do an animated version of this. And like, for me, it's like, no, because the studio closed. They only released 3 movies: We're Back, Feifel, and
They did
I think-
Feifel?
but I think they did Feifel Goes West. Yeah,
Feifel Goes West.
We're Back and Balto.
Wait, dinosaurs were back?
Yeah. Roll back the
Incredible.
clock to the dawn of time and sing the song with me.
I've only seen it once.
That was a movie I grew up.
Classic though.
We're Back was a movie I saw a lot growing up. Dr. Screw Eyes. That is a thing that has stuck with me for a very long time. That is a very weird movie. It stars Jay Leno as an alien, I think. Or no, is he a dinosaur? John Goodman plays the T-Rex. That's all I remember. But can you imagine like an animated version of this? Like, I think you're right. Like, I think really, like, even in 2020 or 2019 or 2010 or 2005 or 1990, anytime anyone in the past thought about adapting this, I honestly think that should have been the only decision.
Yeah.
Especially given that, like, post 1998, do we really need another live action version of this? But again, like,
and I could also see like the plot that they were using for this movie. I could see that making so much more sense in a movie actually targeted towards a younger audience.
sure.
Rather than whatever, like this is like floating somewhere between children, young adults.
It's a animated
disillusioned
movie that's live
teenager.
action.
Yeah, it's just it's so weird and bad. And I feel like if they were to get like the original like actors from the play, or at least most of them, to like reprise their roles for the 2D, maybe like changing up a few. Obviously Victoria, if we're going to say like it would have the same plot as the movie, just better. You know, Victoria doesn't really have, you know, a voice in other than being a part of the ensemble in the original. So like, you know,
Right.
maybe if some of the main characters we recast, but like you keep, you know, Grisabella the same, you keep Rum Tum Tugger the same, you keep Monkeystrap the same, like the Mistopheles the same, like you keep like the big ones, and then like maybe you switch up some of like the other minor characters just for the sake of, you know, doing something a little bit different. But like, just like imagine how much more interesting that would have been. It could have taken place like timeline wise, like over a few days, rather than just like all crammed into like one weird night.
One weird night with a bunch of human cats. This summer, Tom Hooper is directing himself apparently out of a job. Like, and that's the thing. I looked. It doesn't seem like it ended his career as a director, but like this is considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. Like, and I don't know if you do come back from directing, right?
Like if you care about the original and you haven't seen the movie, I wouldn't watch it. Like, it's genuinely, I like the fact I saw it in the opposite order. I saw the movie first, and then I went back to watch, you know, the recording of the play. And because of that, it gave me hope. So I can only assume that if I do it in the opposite order, it would make me lose faith in humanity. So like, don't do that to yourself. You can live without it. It really does not need to be consumed. That being said, if you haven't consumed either, then yeah, have a fun night, imbibe a substance with a friend, and enjoy the weird. and then maybe go back and watch the original to appreciate it. But like, it's just so disappointing on so many levels and so strange on so many levels, and not in the fun way. The only fun thing about it is making fun of the characters and the fact that I just kept going, Judi Dench cat, Jason Derulo cat, like because they're not, that's not Old Deuteronomy to me. That's not like Remington Tucker to me. Like it's just, they're the actors in Weird Cat CGI. It just feels like they're playing themselves.
And that is where the so fun it's bad aspect of this movie is for me. Is like, it's just, this is like one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen as well, but it is also one of the weirdest things. Because like you said, like, I'm really shocked that someone like Taylor Swift is a CGI cat in this movie. Like, because even like now where Taylor Swift is 5 years later, like, fuck's sake, like, I don't know if she wishes she could take this back, but like, there may have been a point in the last 5 years where she said, fuck it, I can't believe I was in that Cats movie. And I would believe that those words left her mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you know, Tom Hooper, he made himself no friends in the making of this movie, I guess, with the CGI people. They have claimed as far as saying that it was akin to slavery having to deal with him the way that he treated them.
Oh, no.
And like, again, and like, what the sad thing is like, you know, you hear about this in video game production that like there's these grind weeks where these people are staying in the office and working 90-hour weeks, and like, but then a video game comes out and it's Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 and it's one of the best games of the year. And it's like, okay, so I'm not saying it justifies it, but if at the end of the day, the product that comes out of it is amazing, then while it sucked for everybody, I think those people are probably proud of what they did. At least, right? At least we could say that. This is
can't say that here.
No, it seems like not only did Tom Hooper maybe get himself in a position where he may not be able to do a big studio film again because he's made too many enemies in the VFX world, which is part of a big studio movie, at least in some corners of big studio movies. But also, he made it clear that like he can't work with other people who expect a director to do a certain thing and be civil with them, and he can't do that. And like, if you make that name for yourself, you just don't get to do it again. Like Josh Trank, same thing happened to him with the Fantastic Four movie. Like, he just made too many enemies with people who are in the industry all the time working on these projects that travels, that kind of information gets out there. And Universal and Tom Hooper have never addressed any of this, because again, like, this movie in a lot of ways is radioactive. Like, Universal probably wishes that they, like, if there was a movie in the last 10 years that they could probably write off of existence and collectively make us all forget about, this is probably one or two on that list. Like, that's how bad everything around this movie is. And that's how bad everything about this movie is. And like, genuinely, it is one of the worst movies ever made, because there's nothing entertaining about it in the way that they wanted it to be. It's just bad and weird. And like you said, it's almost surrealist horror, because if you look at it as a body horror movie, it's fucking like everything. It's like, are these like, oh, is it people trapped in cat bodies and they're like, help us, get us out of here? Like,
no wonder they want a new life.
Right. Yeah. Like, God, does that mean we get to go back to our human bodies?
I wonder how much pain there is. Like,
right. But it's like, but it's not that, but like, it's so bizarre. And, you know, I always joke about, like, what if someone is listening to this 100 years from now? Like, what would they think? And what are they thinking about? And what are they being entertained by? What do you think societies would think if they saw this 100 years from now? They'd be like, what a weird time that people were existing in, where this was a thing that anybody thought was okay, to the tune of $100 million. Because that's the thing. That's where I land in all of this. It's like, so many weird decisions were made by so many people, and either the ball was passed on to someone else and someone else just said, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this shit? Like, it just seems like this is one of the best examples of, like, just every bad decision was made at every turn by everyone, because that's the only way you get a movie where Judi Dench is the only realistic looking cat out of the bunch.
It's just such a weird sentence.
Right. Judi Dench is the only realistic looking human cat in this entire movie, is a new sentence uttered by me right now. It's the truth. Like, somehow Judi Dench is the only one who actually looks like a human cat believably. And like, what a weird thing to say. Emma, final thoughts on Cats.
The original is amazing. And if you haven't seen it, you absolutely should. It is an 80s fever dream in the best way. It is everything you could ever want. If you like musical theater, you like 80s music, you like fun choreography, and you like something that's a little different and a little weird, this is so up your alley, and it is so worth the watch if you haven't yet. You don't need to watch Cats 2019 unless you really, really want to get high with a friend and laugh really hard for 2 hours. Otherwise, it's just not necessary. It is a bastardization of something that was beautiful and unique and different and fun and colorful in both literally and metaphorically. It does nothing but shit all over the original concept. And I don't know how it can even do that because they don't even have assholes.
Emma out.
That's all I got. Drop.
Can I follow that up? Well,
for it.
I have spent going on almost 10 years now doing this podcast. I have seen more movies than most non-movie podcasters have in terms of watching movies on a daily basis. I watch one movie a day, essentially, at this point. And that's just the way it is. Movies have become a part of my fiber of my being. And that's why people like myself and people like yourself do these things, because we love something so much that we want to have an outlet to not stop talking about it. Or talk about it with people that we don't get to talk about it with in person, because shockingly, Emma and I have still never met. Hoping to rectify that. But again, my point is, I haven't met everybody that I work with, but my point is, we do this because we love the things that we're talking about or that we're interested in, both broadly or specifically, be it movies in general or a specific movie that you just can't get out of your head and you want to talk about it and you want to do an entire podcast about that one movie. Look at the Goodfellas Every Minute podcast, which was 300 podcast episodes, because that movie is 2.5 hours long, and they did every minute of the movie as an episode. That's super cool.
That's insane.
Right. That's hyperfixation beyond belief. But you know what? It's awesome that someone likes it and wanted to do that idea that much. I say all of that because this movie is the best and worst example of general misunderstanding of what made, like you've said, general misunderstanding of what made something such a popular piece of pop culture that it's described as BC before Cats and AD Andrew dominance, as in Andrew Lloyd Webber, because Cats is what put him on the map as a playwright, as someone who is able to be Lord Webber now. Lord Lloyd Webber, that's his name. Why? Because of Cats. That's why. Because of a bunch of people dancing around in spandex. Really because of T.S. Eliot, but because of Cats. And why do we have Cats 2019? Because of Cats 1981 and Cats 1998. Cats 1998 doesn't exist if not for 1981, because that musical being such a big deal, it had to be such a big deal to be adapted into just a movie version of the stage play. You don't get to that point if it's not popular. But there didn't need to be more than that in terms of live action. And that's where this movie stumbles, is it doesn't justify its existence from frame one, and at frame 21,000 or whatever it is at the end of this movie, you're not only questioning why did you watch it, but you're also questioning why did anyone else invest an ounce of time into this? Why did anyone invest an ounce of money into this? And why did anyone who's in this movie agree to be in it, other than because, like I joked about earlier, their families were being held hostage, or someone had naked pictures of them that they didn't want to get out? It's just the prestige of Cats can only carry you so far. And if you got involved with this because of the prestige of Cats, I get it, because Cats is a mega musical. There's a prestige involved with it, but so many people's careers are going to have Cats on it forever, and not everybody's career can survive that. And that's the shame, is there may be people who never work in the industry again because they were associated with this movie. And that would be the biggest shame, in my opinion, because it's a bad movie, but I don't think anyone needed to be out of a job permanently. But I'm sure there have been and will be, because again, it is widely considered to be and is a critical and commercial failure. And no amount of making amends or apologizing or distancing yourself from it can change the fact that the movie wasn't a success. So it's just, it's a spectacular failure, though. It wasn't a quiet, it was a failure in a way that, like, you drew attention to the fact that you were a failure from the moment you showed a trailer that was, again, like you've mentioned, I will echo it, uncanny valley throughout the entire movie. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can't get out of the way of the uncanny valley. And the Rolling Stones article talking about, like, yeah, there's other problems, but the VFX is the big problem. Like, yep, pretty much. Like, there's literally nothing that you can do to ignore how bad it is. And Cats 2019 is just real fucking bizarre.
If you could ask the personified movie of Cats 2019 one question, what would it be?
How badly do you want to die?
Mine would have been, why were you made?
Right. And its answer would be, even I don't know. Or also possibly money. I mean, again, like, people went and saw this because of the name Cats mattering to people at one point. But after watching this, it's right. Like, yeah, there were people that were like, Taylor Swift is in this movie, I'm going to go see it. It's like, oh boy. Yeah, she is in it. Oh, check your expectations at the door, folks. So on that note, we'll take a break, play some ads, and play a preview for what we're talking about on the next episode.
From Weirding Way Media, Cambridge and Washawn is a podcast about two guys' obsessions, passions, and hobbies. Those two guys are
Mark Bigley, host of Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror,
and Ronald Zerigian, host of the Skelevator YouTube channel.
Each month we talk about the toys, comics, movies, books, TV shows, and other cultural phenomena that captured our imaginations and helped shape who we are today.
From Masters of the Universe to Saturday Night Live, Star Wars to Harry Houdini, The Muppets to The Elephant Man, Ronnie and Mark dive deep into the recesses of their minds to pull out treasured memories of things lost but never forgotten.
Join us on the first Tuesday of each month over at weirdingwaymedia.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Join me, Jamie Benning, on the Filmumentaries podcast, particularly if you enjoy stories like designer Nilo Rodis Jamiro convincing George Lucas to push him around to help gain the support of his crew on the ailing Howard the Duck.
Blam! The door opens, it's George. Everybody gasps. George makes a beeline to me. I'm literally back against the wall.
Or hear puppeteer Tim Rose's emotional story behind that iconic Admiral Akbar shot in Return of the Jedi.
I believe that war is something to be proud of, but not to celebrate.
Or how Star Wars editor Paul Hirsch tackled cutting so many successful films.
The thing that I learned from working with De Palma is that tension depends on a clock. You need to have the sense that time is running out.
Maybe Oscar-winning sound designer Mark Mangini's insightful chat about his work on Blade Runner 2049.
Not a single sound from the original Blade Runner in the new film. A great deal of inspiration.
That's the Filmumentaries podcast with me, Jamie Benning.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings. There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted. A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes.
And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
you've started to believe the things they say of you. You really do believe this talk of God is true.
Yet, if he said he loved me, I'd be lost, I'd be frightened. I couldn't cope, just couldn't cope. I'd turn my head, I'd back away. I wouldn't want to know. It scares me so.
My temple should be a house of prayer. But you have made it a den of thieves.
Christ, you know I love you. Did you see our way? I believe in you and God, so tell me that I'm saved. Christ, you know I love you. Did you see our way? I believe in you and God, so tell me that I'm saved.
So, you are the Christ. You're the great Jesus Christ. Prove to me that you're divine. Change my water into wine.
Jesus Christ, superstar. Do you think you're what they say you are?
Does it get me wrong? 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 Only wanna know. Only wanna know. Only wanna know. I only wanna know.
Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. Who are you? What have you sacrificed?
So in the next episode, we're taking a trip back to another Andrew Lloyd Webber thing, but this time it's not cats, thank Christ. It's all about Jesus and Judas and all of their pals. We're going to be talking about the film adaptation of Jesus Christ Superstar. And Emma's going to be joining me for that one because I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen one of the film stage adaptations. So, you know, like what they did with Cats. So I've only seen that. But I've heard that the movie's good. I've seen the movie kind of out of context, some of the scenes. So I'm super excited to get to talk about it. So until then, you can find Emma and I over at weirdingwaymedia.com, where we do another show together called Scary Stories We Tell, which is a weekly spooky weird show that has nothing to do with movies for the most part, but movies tend to invade the conversation from time to time, especially if I'm involved. But no Cats 2019. I don't think that'll ever be a thing we cover on that podcast.
I think we can safely put it behind us now.
Right, like it's something that I've covered now, and I can say if anyone ever asks, like, have you covered Cats 2019? I'll be like, yes, I have.
I sure have.
And I do think, if anything, its existence is justified right then and there as something worth talking about. But I'm not necessarily sure, like, it in and of itself really offers much other than just like a weird talking piece. Like, you know how they have those like cards for conversations. It's like, it's one of those. It's like, have you ever seen Cats 2019? What did you think of that fucking weird thing?
I think it served a single purpose, and that purpose would be to show future directors what not to do.
If adapting Cats in the future, don't do this, or just don't do it.
Just don't do any of this for any movie ever.
Yeah, right. Anthropomorphized cat humans is not a good idea, regardless of the setting or narrative that you're going for. So Emma, thank you so much for joining me. This is fun. I mean, we've been literally talking for like 9 hours now, so
probably more.
Yeah,
I lost count.
But yeah, to talk about cats.
honor.
Yeah, to talk about cats together. It's it's been fun, but hopefully Jesus Christ Superstar is a little bit better. So
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Until then, we'll catch you on the next episode.